down from the legislature. I've let the governor know and the clerk of the legislature know.
A state senator from Lincoln announces she's resigning from the legislature so she can pursue city politics.
And how the governor plans to name her replacement is getting pushback from other lawmakers. Good evening, I'm John Nicely.
And I'm Lauren Taylor. State law gives the power to the governor to fill the seat.
However, an Omaha senator is outraged over how quickly a replacement will be named. Brian Mastery joins us with the latest.
John, Senator Suzanne Geist is resigning from the legislature to focus on being a full-time candidate for mayor, and here's why. Yesterday, Lincoln held its mayoral primary. The incumbent, Mayor Gaylord Bair, won with 49% of the vote. Suzanne Geist came in second with 34%. Mayor Gaylord Bair is the highest-ranking Democrat in the state of Nebraska. The way it works, the top two vote-getters then face off in a general election. That's just 4 weeks away. Geist says she's resigning so she can focus 100% of her energy on the campaign for mayor.
Does give some guidance, so yes, I think it achieves what we're after.
Thank you.
After her announcement, Senator Geist spoke on the floor of the legislature this afternoon, trying to wrap up any unfinished business. It wasn't long after she made the announcement that Governor Jim Pillen's team emailed this to reporters, announcing the governor will appoint her replacement tomorrow afternoon. Well, that didn't sit well with some Democrats who said it's been standard operating procedure for a governor to take public applications first and then pick a replacement.
Cronyism. So inappropriate. Shouldn't have to be told that, Governor Pillen. Shouldn't have to be told that. Be better than that.
Again, Governor Pillen plans to name a replacement tomorrow afternoon. The individual will serve out the remaining 2 years. Now, Lincoln hasn't elected a Republican mayor since Mike Johans. That was in the late 90s. Again, the election is May 2nd. Live in the studio, Brian Mastery, 6 News.
Also,